Welcome back, everyone. I'm so glad you're joining us today because we're using this explainer to unpack something truly special. We're talking about the intense momentum shifts from a historic 2026 World Cup clash. It was the debutants, Uzbekistan, going head-to-head with the powerhouse that is Colombia. You know, when an underdog meets a giant on the world's biggest stage, the pressure, it just creates absolute electricity. So let's jump right into the details and the highlights to see exactly how this whole thing unfolded.
Okay, let's think about this for a second. What actually happens to a team's tactical discipline when they step onto the world's biggest pitch for the very first time? I mean, it's a psychological battle just as much as a physical one, right? When you're facing a seasoned giant like Colombia, every single pass, every defensive block, it becomes this uncharted milestone. And because of that, massive momentum swings are basically inevitable.
To really understand the stakes of this matchup, we have to look at the immense emotional weight both sides carried before the referee even blew the whistle. Seriously, this wasn't just another game. This was a deeply proud moment for Uzbekistan. They were stepping onto the World Cup stage for the very first time in their nation's history.
But man, the contrast in the stadium was wild. You had that quiet, historic pride of Uzbekistan's first ever appearance clashing immediately with a crowd that was just expecting an absolute fiesta. Since the match was played in Mexico City, the environment essentially served as a massive home game for Colombia. So picture this, a debutante stepping into this roaring, expectant cauldron of fans who are quite literally demanding a party. And right from the opening seconds, Colombia's tactical intent was totally ruthless. They wanted to establish dominance, exploit all that crazy crowd energy, and basically rattle the newcomers early to force a quick collapse.
We're not just talking about some light early pressure here. It was a rapid-fire onslaught. John Arias signaled his intent immediately, carving out dangerous chances right out of the gate. Then, the world-class Luis Diaz rattles the post with this beautiful reverse shot. Colombia was flooding the box with so many runners that the Uzbek goalkeeper was forced into these totally desperate, scrambling touches just to survive the waves.
Okay, so at this point, you're probably thinking the floodgates are about to open, right? Well, just when it seemed Colombia would completely overwhelm them, Uzbekistan delivered this stunning shock disruption, completely against the run of play. One single, ruthless counterattack completely flipped the script.
Out of absolutely nowhere, following a clever step-through by hands-off, the ball gets recycled, and bam, history's made. Zulfov found the back of the net. As the commentary perfectly captured it, that finish sent the small pocket of traveling Uzbek fans into absolute sheer pandemonium. I mean, tying the game against a giant on your debut, it was pure magic. 1-1. Let that sink in for a second. Suddenly, a massive upset is brewing. The debutants had absorbed the heavyweights' absolute best punches, and they actually swung back. It completely shifted the tension in the entire stadium.
However, true heavyweights, they don't panic. Actually, scratch that. They don't even blink. Instead of retreating, the Colombian squad just leaned into their seasoned resolve. They used their world-class depth to systematically begin dismantling the Uzbek defense all over again.
Let's track how they bounced back, because their recovery was relentless. Right away, Puerta goes on the charge, forcing a massive save to kill off the underdog's momentum. Just moments later, Luis Diaz's undeniable quality shines through, and he clinically reestablishes Colombia's lead. Uzbekistan fought incredibly hard to hold on amid some chaotic crosses, but Vargas was left scrambling as Colombia capped off the sequence with a final decisive finish right off the crossbar.
Ultimately, as that final sequence played out, Colombia's sheer attacking depth proved to be way too much to hold back for a full 90 minutes. Uzbekistan played with so much heart, but those relentless waves of fresh, elite attackers just wore them down. It's a stark reminder of the immense tactical stamina you need at the World Cup level.
By the time it was all over and done with, the scoreboard painted a clear, unarguable picture. Uzbekistan 1, Colombia 3. Now, if you just wake up tomorrow and glance at that scoreline, it looks like a standard, everyday victory for the favorite. But that number hides an incredibly tense, truly historic battle.
Their first journey ends there, sure, but I want to leave you with this question. Did that singular, explosive moment of sheer pandemonium prove that Uzbekistan truly belongs among the giants of the football world? I'd argue it absolutely did. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer today. Keep asking those big questions, and we'll see you next time as we break down more of the world's biggest moments.